Round two.
Hello. We were just on my personal Instagram.
Yes.
Hello. Happy Tuesday. We have a great guest for you today. We're a few minutes behind now.
We are so excited. We are going to invite Deanna on.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, yay. We did no questions today. Deanna's just going to take the role and she's going to be awesome. You guys are going to love it.
Oh,
Hello.
I'm a little low. Let me adjust this. Hi,
That's
ladies.
okay. We were just on the wrong Instagram, so.
Oh, were you?
I was like, where's our people?
That's so great. Am I too close? Okay. Hi.
And it was my personal account. She just cut us off. She was like,
it was 6 o'clock.
That's so great. That's so funny.
Oh,
You ladies look lovely.
you do too.
Thank you.
I'm so excited about today.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
we are ready for you. What I was telling everybody on the wrong account. You are a truth-telling breath of fresh air. We're gonna have a great
Awesome.
time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, let's get into it. I mean, I don't know where you want me to start. If you want me just to kind of tell you guys, you know, how I ended up speaking out on Instagram, like what happened, or
So we normally just, in case both sides are listening, just do a soft introduction, and then
Okay.
we can just get right into it.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds great. I'm Deanna. I actually am the founder of a teeth whitening company called Smile Sciences. So that's where the name came from. I started my company in 2011 and, you know, had huge success using platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube to just kind of grassroots market my company. And things transpired into a major change for me. And I still do sell a teeth whitening pen, but really moved away from that space and working with celebrities and stuff. Yeah, that's kind of how it started.
Well, I know your story, but so many don't.
Yeah.
And I don't know if our followers follow you, but you guys are going to want to follow Deanna after you hear this today.
Thanks.
So,
Thanks.
we'll just let you go.
Yeah. So, you know, I was well on my way to success with the teeth whitening company. Like I said, I started it in 2011. I worked with a lot of, back then there weren't really influencers, you know, there weren't agents involved. Social media was more like, I would just look for people who had a larger platform and stuff. And in 2015, there was a baby born in my family that was premature. And I was asked to get the Tdap in my arm. And I went and did it, and I immediately suffered a reaction. I was taken to the hospital, and I was diagnosed with supraventricular tachycardia, SVT. And from there, over the next year, my health really plummeted, like really bad. I had been diagnosed with several other ailments, including fibromyalgia. I had 2 bouts of shingles, which I had never experienced before. I was suffering from severe anxiety that was like uncontrollable, which I thought maybe was from the tachycardia. Just like my whole life kind of turned upside down, and I was going from doctor to doctor. They were sending me to all these different specialists. I was under the care of a cardiologist. So for about 2 years, I chased answers and the whys, and was this my new life? Being a mom of 3 and married, I was somebody who was always extremely active in my kids' school, at home, you know, cooking everything. So it went to literally me being almost bedridden. And by 2017, after like 2 years of not being able to find answers, I started questioning what was going on. Like, why is every doctor writing me a prescription? Why are they not able to correlate any, like, what was the big change that happened? And so one of my friends at the time was like, hey, you should go see this naturopath I know. She's like really great. And I was like, oh, really into that. I don't do that, you know? And I was thinking it would be somebody who was much more like, I don't know, I guess I was expecting it to be maybe like a 70s hippie, you know, when I finally gave in and went to the office, and it was nothing like that. In fact, I wrote about it on my Substack, and I always describe it as like when, you know, Dr. K walked into the room, it was like she floated in, and I saw this person who, it was the first time in 2 years since I had gotten poked that I felt hope. I saw this person who just radiated health, and I was like, whatever she tells me, I'm going to listen. You know, looking back, it's almost funny, like 9 years ago, it's like I was at the very beginning stage of health, right? I didn't even understand anything about health. And I especially didn't understand toxic overload, right? Which is now looking back, was it just this that caused that? No, it was the toxins around me in my environment that I was using, that I was consuming, like it was all of it, right? So by the time COVID came, I was pretty well into my healing journey and kind of figuring out how my body works. And I was clued in pretty quickly, I would say a couple weeks in, that something was really, really off and it wasn't making sense. I don't know if that resonates with, you know, everybody. I know a lot of my followers, you know, we're all different spectrums of it, right? Like some people were like, I knew from day one. Some people are like 2 weeks in. Some people are like, I was 6 months in. Some people are like, I didn't figure it out till after I got vaccinated. Like everybody's kind of different, right? We all kind of like find that spot at a different time. For me, it was a couple weeks in. The thing that I was noticing that I thought was extremely weird was it was all over the media, but in my town, I didn't see any of it, right? That was a very big, like, clue for me. And I was living in Bend, Oregon at the time. And everything was on lockdown. Like, just, it was very overwhelming, you know, as it was for probably everybody. We all have our stories about it, right? And our emotions that are attached to that. So, I started to notice that the young people around me having 2 teenagers and a young adult child, and then all of their friends and their friends' friends, I really noticed that the kids felt very voiceless. Like they couldn't say anything. They were afraid they were going to get canceled or their friends were going to get mad at them. And that started to seem like, wait, what's going on? Like, why are kids afraid to speak out? Or, you know, why are people policing other people? Just, it seemed like an experiment to me. And, I don't know. It was like this moment where I was like, you know what? I have to talk about this. And my page had always just been teeth whitening. Just, you know, we were doing very well, and a lot of celebrity endorsements. I pretty much worked with everybody from like The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, all the reality shows, the Jersey Shore, everybody, you know. And the second I went to social media and was like, I think something's awry. And I didn't even do it on my Smile Scientist page. I did it on my personal page. And, you know, I was like, I think something's up. I think this is weird. And, you know, they started talking about they're going to come out with this, you know, this vaccine and everyone's going to be okay and stuff. I felt really like I had to tell my story and how can they say that's safe for everybody? Because we are all completely different. Like what I've consumed, you haven't consumed. Like we've all had different things, right? So how is this something that is, they can just blanket statement be like, you know, you won't get it, you're safe. Right. So I spoke out on my personal page, and it was about 3 days later, I noticed that my business page wasn't getting the views. It wasn't getting any traction. And at first I thought it was because everyone was, so focused on the news and like what was going on. And I had the same celebrity endorsements that always did really well. We weren't seeing sales. Sales were dipping like 90%, like drastic sales dipping. And I was paying Meta $1,000 a day for ads. I always had like a 5 to 7 time return. And I started to notice I wasn't getting any returns. I again thought, well, people are panicked. Nobody wants to spend money. But like my teeth whitening products, they range between like $20 to $40. So it's not like, breaking the bank, but definitely people were probably pulling back. So I really thought that that's what it was. And it took me about 30 days to figure out that I had been completely shadow banned and blacklisted on Meta. And the more they tried to suppress me, the more I felt like I really had to get the story out. I really had to tell people, like, wait a minute, should we be trusting this? Should we be like, something's awry? Like, do you guys believe Anthony Fauci? Like, I started to like kind of be like, we got to talk about this, you guys. Yeah. And once they had completely destroyed our finances, and when I say destroyed, like my big mistake was I built my entire company off social media, and it was 90% of my income. And I didn't realize that in the blink of an eye, the powers that be can take that away from you. And that is what happened to us. Is it was like no one saw us, none of our ads, nothing. So it was a pretty brutal time, and I decided that if they were going to take Smile Sciences from me, I was going to go dive into that and just, say what I had to say. And I would pray about it. And I always thought, like, at some point I'm going to be done talking. I'm not going to have much to say, but it never really, like, that was not God's plan for me.
It's a deep well.
Yeah. Well, what happened was the more I talked about my healing and my story and how I healed my body, the more people were like, wait, what do you mean? You healed? Like, I do not see a cardiologist. I am on no medication. They told me I'd be on beta blockers for my entire life. Like, I never took one,
Can I ask you, had any doctor prior to the holistic doctor you came to, did anyone ever made that connection that maybe it could have been the vaccine?
Only at the hospital, but it was quickly dismissed. So the day that I got it, so I actually went to Walgreens to get it. Who does that? I do. I was not like afraid of that at all. I was like, oh, I'm just going to go to my local Walgreens, and I think you get like $10 off your shopping experience. But I never even made it to that because I had to go to the hospital. So right when I got to the hospital, they took me to the back right away and did an EKG. And that's when I got admitted into the cardiac unit. And I had told them that I got the Tdap, and at first I think that maybe they were going to go that path, but it seemed like very quickly it directed into something was wrong with me. Like, something's wrong with my heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that becomes the sole focus. And, the amount of times I was attacked for, correlation isn't causation, and, you have no proof of that. And I mean, I was gaslit for years. And I went through this, by the way, with my dad, because my dad got Pfizer, and he was fine with his first one, and it was his second one that he was rushed to the hospital. And, my husband, myself, and my kids, none of us got it because of what I had experienced. But, the rest of my family was willing to. And my dad, travels and stuff. So he's a senior, and he was like, I'm going to get it, whatever. And I have a reel on sorry about that. That's my dogs. I have a reel on my page that kind of like talks about my dad's story and stuff. But I mean, the hospital fully admitted it, but they refused to report it to theirs. So these are the things I really wanted to get out there. Like, and get people to talk about and discuss their stories and, understand that doctors were being pressured to not report things. And, doctors are taught to do this, this, and this when a patient comes in, and they may think like, we're doing the absolute right thing, but is it the right thing for everybody? Is it the correct thing for everybody? Not once in my entire Western medicine journey, not once did a doctor ask me about eating. Not once did a doctor ask me if I had ever received Botox, if I ever got filler. No one ever talked to me about burning candles in my house. I was a migraine sufferer for years. I suffered from migraines. And no one ever asked me that. It was, oh, we can do injections, we can do this, we can do that. And the cure for my migraine issue was to stop plugging things in, like Glade plugins and stuff, and to stop burning candles. You can close that. And the second I stopped doing that, I think it was about 6 weeks, and I stopped getting migraines. So, a lot of people don't talk about toxic overload and all these things, whether it's, if you think about like what you do in just one day, right? Like when you wake up in the morning, right? Are you using fluoride toothpaste? Are you, using your Target bought shampoo and conditioner? And then you're putting like a couple layers of lotions and, eye creams and hair products. And then you're spraying hairspray, you light a candle, we are layering ourselves with toxins, and we don't even know it. Like we're poisoning ourselves, and we don't even know it. And for some reason, Western medicine wasn't talking about any of that, the more I started to replace in my home, like our first thing that we gave up was the fluoride toothpaste. So my daughter, Evelyn, who a lot of people, my followers are familiar with because she's on my page a lot, she had these like, almost like eczema rashes, right, that she would get on her face. And the second we stopped using fluoride toothpaste, all of that cleared up. She has the most beautiful skin, right? And so she was definitely, her body was rejecting fluoride, which led me to deep diving on fluoride and it being a neurotoxin. And I was like, oh, whoa, like we got to get rid of the fluoride in our house. Like I remember buying water with fluoride in it, thinking like stronger teeth, stronger bones, right? No. Yeah. So that was like one of the first things I got rid of. And, at this point, I'm still just a full-blown teeth whitening company, on my own health journey, kind of sharing it with my followers and things I'm discovering, like, oh man, I was putting like a Glade plug-in in every room. And like, I think I was killing me and my dogs. Like, I was like, it's toxic, So when I replaced the toothpaste, I had tried every toothpaste under the moon, looking, Tom's and Oh Hello, like all these toothpaste, trying to find one that everyone in my family liked. And we went through quite a few, and we ended up with David's. Everybody in my house liked David's. So then I just thought, you know what, maybe I'll carry their toothpaste. I added that to my website. It kind of went along with the teeth whitening, but my page started to grow tremendously at that point. And, as I started replacing things in my house, I started to build relationships with, because a lot of them were small businesses and small batch and stuff. And, I think shampoo was like next on my list. My hair used to be so thin. If you look at like my before and afters, like I had this insane thin hair. I was always so insecure about my hair, and I wore extensions, and I was like, you know what? I'm getting rid of the extensions. I'm not dyeing my hair anymore. Why am I putting dye on my scalp? I'm having these health issues I'm trying to heal. This is a toxin I can get rid of. And that led me into getting a healthy shampoo for my hair, and really just kind of starting to get into a ritual of taking care of my body and myself, from combing my scalp every night, just doing things that felt very intuitive to me, very natural. And the results started to really show. And I wanted to tell everybody, like I wanted every woman to know, like, you can heal your hair. I didn't know this. You can heal your hair, So
what shampoo do you use? Is
So
it on
I
your page?
actually use Viore shampoo bars and conditioners. My entire family and all my friends use Viore now. It is a rice-based shampoo, and it has been life-changing for me. You know, their products are non-toxic. I actually carry their stuff on my website.
I will go to it and look for it.
You grab me the, like, maybe the 2 pineapples. I'll show it to you really quick. Um,
I'm excited.
we sell a lot of it. Like here, and it's all like eco packaging. So like this is the pineapple shampoo. This sells out really fast, but and then this is the conditioner. The smell of this is unbelievable. They also have like, so they have it for like oily hair, dry hair, you know, and it is very non-toxic. My hair stopped feeling brittle. It stopped breaking. I'm like almost 100% gray, and I use like their purple shampoo bar to like brighten my hair a little, like once a week. And then I started to find out about like rosemary, but I started studying like herbs and stuff, and because I wanted to use some herbs for detoxing, even though I had gone through some other detoxing programs and stuff. I really like wanted to know, like, what does cilantro do, what does this do, what does that do? And so when I was looking into rosemary, I found out that rosemary actually can really help hair growth. So I had tried several different products, and then I found this company up in Ojai, California, which if you live in California, you've ever been to Ojai, it's like this amazing mountain town filled with artists. It's just very spiritual up there, right? And I found this little company, Ojai Essentials, and I bought their rosemary hair oil because it was just 2 ingredients. It was coconut oil and rosemary. And I was like, I'm going to try this. And that also was a game changer. I do a scalp treatment, twice a week on my hair. I use a hollow tip comb, so it like removes any of the dry skin off your scalp. Even if you don't think you have dry skin, it kind of like lifts it and lets your scalp breathe. And then I'll put the oil through my hair, and I mean, the hair growth I saw was unbelievable. So I
Well, your
started
hair
wearing,
looks really beautiful too. So
yeah,
you have
thanks.
the perfect testimony.
Yeah, thank you. I've had everybody from, people who are growing their hair back after cancer treatments to, women who have suffered from hair loss by being pregnant and stuff that have written testimonies and just love it. So I started to realize that a lot of stuff we were buying, whether it was from Target or Walmart or maybe my grocery store, was probably not so great for me. And so I just started checking things off, and I didn't want to overwhelm myself where I was like, I'm going to go in the cabinet and throw everything away. I did it more like one thing at a time. Like I ran out of my dishwashing soap. So I was like, what can I replace that with? Or my shampoo. And then, I think I'm going to replace my kids' shampoo. And it was just kind of like this thing where, a year went by and I looked back and I was like, oh my gosh, like a lot of stuff in my house is like super clean. We all feel better. No one has brain fog anymore. And, I just started sharing that journey more and more online, and it kind of grew from there to me starting to realize, like, I think when I started to not have the brain fog too, and I started to feel better, I kind of started to see things a little bit more clearly. And I started to see things very, gosh, I mean, I know some people get really offended by it, but it's like I started to look at the whole left and right thing and politics and be like, are we being played? Like, what's going on here? Is this like a good cop, bad cop thing, And like I said, I voted for Trump, but I started to see things in the entire system that just didn't seem like it was on either side. It was fully for human rights and for all humans. It seemed much more like, how can we divide people further and further and further? Mm-hmm. And I mean, we saw that test ground with COVID, right? COVID was like, it tore people apart, Yeah. I mean, I don't think I know anybody who didn't lose somebody over a fight about COVID. Right. People were just ripped apart through that. So, I started to kind of just talk about that and I'm trying to build a community of people who, all want to learn from each other, help one another, a community that doesn't want to idolize celebrity or government and instead be like neighborly, because I think we need to get back to that basic stuff for sure.
Oh my gosh. I think when we've lost our ability to have a conversation, if,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly how to articulate it in a fast way, but if I already decide what this neighbor and that guy and this guy's going to say, and I don't like what they're going to say before
Yeah.
they say it.
Yeah.
You
Then
know,
yeah,
we
you're living in an echo
never,
chamber too. Because if
right,
you can't hear what
right,
somebody who has a different opinion from you
right.
is saying, like I learned a lot when I started to just like pull back and like listen to other views. Somebody asked me, like, why do you follow this person? And I was like, I follow a lot of people I don't agree with or I don't like because I want to kind of hear every perspective of
Right.
it. If I was, let's just go back to COVID, if I was only listening to Anthony Fauci and I was just blinded by that, right? Like, I'm not going to hear what other people have to say. It's the anti-vax thing. Like a lot of pro-vax people, they've never really sat with a vaccine injured person. They're very quick to judge, and they've never sat with some of these people who have suffered extreme loss. So I feel like we got to like shift that, and the anger doesn't really serve because it doesn't get people to open their hearts or their minds to it. So, you can't be, I told you, or what, I see a lot of people that are just brutal on both sides of it. I see people who attack vaccine injured people and they're like, well, we tried to warn you. And it's like, well, they're
Right.
definitely listening to you now. I mean, that's warm. It's like the person that tells you to calm down. You're like, does that really ever work?
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't work. So yeah, exactly. I mean, no one likes to be told to calm down. No one. So I try to approach it a lot, in a different way. And I really don't want to just be like the only voice on my channel. I want everyone to kind of participate. I do a lot of like question boxes so people can share their stuff. We, do a group chat, and I just closed, we had a crazy group chat going on my page.
I was on it. I was like, wait, why are you doing this?
Okay, so I know I did shut it down today. I started to get a little paranoid that my account was gonna, because people were posting some.
They're getting wild.
They were getting wild because there's.
I wasn't on it today, so I don't know. I didn't even have to shut it down.
I shut it down, but we're going to start another one. I put up a poll because I wanted everyone to decide for the new group chat. It's either going to be, I was like, let's talk about health. What were our topics, Evelyn? Health, chemtrails, COVID stories, or we could go back to conspiracies if everybody really wants to. I thought that the Travelers in the Sky would be a good one, because I think it would be really informative if you like post a picture of your sky in the morning and then wait a couple hours and post it again and then say do you have any symptoms? Are you cranky? Do you have brain fog? Like, I was like, that would be a nice perspective to see like what everyone is feeling and sensing. So, but we'll see. I'm going to let everyone decide with the poll, like what they want to do. So
I love the health talks. I don't know, maybe your journey on clean ingredients, I haven't gone as far as you have into it. Our family, though, we do like lotions are absolutely a big one in our family. Do you
okay.
use the Yucca app that tells the ingredients?
Okay. I have
Or
to
do you
be
not
really
like
honest
that
with
one?
you. So I stopped using, I don't use any of the apps because I do feel like a lot of that stuff becomes pay for play.
Really?
And so it's like people are paying to I can't remember what the app was that I was using that became very questionable to me, because I like Melaleuca, right? Not everything's 100% clean, and the biggest flaw, should I even be saying this online? I'm just gonna say it. The biggest flaw with that is I don't love a point system, or like things that seem MLM. It's not an MLM, but they, you know, they seem like it. But I am a diehard Melaleuca. Like, I just ordered my box today, so I don't pitch it salesy like on my site. Like, I'm sure a lot of people wish I would, but I don't do it because I'm really looking to help people solve the issues versus make commissions and sell things, right? Because the reason why I know, like, for me, I'm not going to sell out, or I'm never going to be that person, is because when I look at Evelyn, when I look at Ashton or Austin, and I imagine myself being a grandmother one day, I want a world where people are, you know, playing soccer and they're swimming in the ocean. I don't want a world where everyone is disabled and unhealthy and on, you know, 5 different pills. It's like, you know, taking my dad to a doctor's appointment and my dad saying he's not on any prescriptions at 76 years old. They're like flabbergasted. And that's not how it's supposed to be, right? So I'm doing it. My reward in it is the future of my family, what they get to experience in life, right? So those apps, what I started to kind of figure out was there were certain products and companies being pushed to the top. So I really don't use those anymore. I'm almost so simpleton in it that I'm like, if I have to even look at the ingredients, I probably shouldn't be consuming it, right? But that doesn't apply to things like shampoo or dish soap and stuff, right? So that's where I trust Melaleuca or companies like Viore. I did a lot of hard work to research, like every product on my website we use in my house, right? So, you know, is everything 100% clean? No. Oh, another thing about those apps, this is what I will tell you. So, like, if you were to scan something of Melaleuca's, let's just say it was their laundry detergent, and they have a, you know, essential oil in that laundry detergent, and that essential oil is, it's not tea tree, but we're just going to use tea tree as an example, right?
Oh, I know they lose their mind over tea tree.
So, well, it's toxic to dogs. So they will mark it as a toxic product, right? So it's like that kind of stuff bothers me. I think like we all have to be less lazy and be a little more hands-on. Yeah. We ditched our lotions a couple years ago. We started using tallow. I do like tallow. I know some people don't because they feel like it's greasier than, you know, it takes a little time to absorb into your skin. But I don't feel like I always need moisture because I think my body's kind of realigned and working correctly now. So, huh?
That might be. Maybe that's what I need. Maybe I need to do more detox.
Yeah, and it might not even be detox. It could just literally be like food, and like a lot of us look at water like, okay, water's what's hydrating us, but people don't really look at food as a hydrating thing, right? Mm-hmm. So like if I ever feel like, gosh, do I feel dehydrated? I'm like running to grapes or watermelon, cantaloupe, like things that really hydrate you, you know. You can find a lot of hydration in food. So I am somebody who likes to consume real food. I do not like processed, and I don't consume any ultra processed. So once I changed that in my life, I noticed I was a lot less dry. We got a water system, a filtration system to filter out, because I live in California where I mean, you fill up your bathtub and you're like, damn, am I soaking in chlorine? Like, it's crazy. You can smell how toxic that is. So that's obviously going to dehydrate you, right? So once I started paying attention to all those things, my body kind of like regulated itself. My daughter and I, for probably like 3 years, because I normally don't wear makeup at all. And you know, as far as like skincare products, I was only using tallow to hydrate my face. And now I actually created, I started just messing around with a lot of different oils and plants and stuff, and created our own face oil that I never intended on like taking to market or selling, and still haven't. I don't know why I drag my feet on it, because her and I have been using it for over 6 months, and it's unbelievable. And we can all learn that, like how to make our own things, you know. For our families, I make my own soap bars now. Huh, not even planned. I mean, these are this is, I can use that, soap bars that these ones are exfoliating ones that I literally just made for my family. And you know, just, yeah, I feel like being really conscious of what you're using. And I kind of go into the grocery store and, you know, places like Target, and at this point I'm like, wow, about 95% of this stuff is not usable. Not to be a Debbie Downer, but it really isn't. I mean, it is
Well, this
just,
we were talking about this earlier, and it's really hard for people because we talk about this topic all the time to believe that everything we've been taught has been wrong.
I know,
And so
I know.
that's a really negative mind space to be in for a short period of time until you're like,
Yeah.
but how beautiful can life be when you learn how to do these little things and heal yourself, you know?
Okay, I will tell you, I say this to my followers, my friends, my daughter. I tell everybody this. The the greatest gift you can ever give anyone is the ability to help them heal. Let me tell you this, you cannot buy health. So the greatest gift ever is for you to be able to show someone this is how you heal, right? And I will tell you, I will never forget the first time I saw my daughter pick up something off the shelf and turn it around. That was a moment for a mom that can literally make me cry. And I will never forget watching my daughter look at someone she cared about and say, let me help you. Watching my son care for his girlfriend, because I have taught them those things. So the more we do this and we teach and we show people, you know, it's like, I remember following this woman when I was really like knee deep into like detoxing and just, I mean, oh my gosh, you guys, we could do a whole podcast about my detox journey and how you wouldn't even believe this. You wouldn't even believe it. Trust, I sometimes am like, the stuff that came out of my mouth when I went through a metal detox, I'm positive it was filler that I had put in my face. Like I got filler. I went through a very intense detox. And when I was knee deep into that, I found this woman online, and somebody had asked her, like, what made you dedicate your life to this? Because her whole life was about teaching people how to heal. And she said that when she was a little girl, like 6 or 7, she saw her grandmother out in the garden, and her grandmother cut the tip of her finger off. Okay. And she said, my grandmother so calmly walked over to her greenhouse and she wrapped her finger with a plant. And she said, and I watched my grandmother regrow her finger back. And I knew I wanted whatever that was. I wanted to know how to do that. And it's like people that are really wrapped into Western medicine would probably be like, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't grow your finger back. Because a lot of people don't understand the depths of what biblically God promised, right? And yeah, I mean, if you know, you know, you know.
Yeah.
So that for me was when I was like, I need to learn it all. I started actually buying books because when I started seeing that they were changing things online, I was like, oh my gosh, like they can change things so quickly, right? They just log in and
Right.
right. What's AI, Chat GPT? It's all going to be fed what they want you to be fed. So I actually, quite a few years back, I started collecting books, like herbal books, medicine books, healing books, farming books, all of it. And I wanted to consume as much and then keep these books for my kids, my kids' kids, you know, because they can't come change my books, you
Right.
know? Yeah. So
I had that realization probably a year back of like the fluid of the internet is
Oh
so
yeah.
dangerous. It is
Yes.
so dangerous.
Yes.
And, all of our, school systems, they can just change just like that.
Yes.
And it's scary if you
Yes.
don't know the truth.
Yes.
Well,
Well, I mean, yeah, because they literally are putting lines in the sky now on the weather, like when they do the weather reports on the news. I don't know if you guys saw my post in my stories. That was a follower in Chicago sent me. She was like, "Oh, look at my weatherman today." And he was showing the weather, and there were white lines in the sky, like in their weather. They're going to start. And if you think about it, if I don't tell Evelyn, right? So,
right.
like, you have kids, right? And we never have this conversation. They come home from school. We just eat. Everything's chaotic. We're all busy trying to just make it through the day, and you never sit down and have these conversations. They don't know. So now that is how quickly it takes one generation
Yes.
to change it all, right? So now she thinks, oh, those lines in the sky are normal. They've always been there, because she didn't know different and I didn't teach her, right? So that is another big one for me, where I'm like, we were always like, no, we're sitting down every night for dinner. We're going to all talk. I mean, I was calling her every single day at school when she went. So she went to Manoa in Hawaii for her freshman year of college. And I was like, what assignments are you getting? What are you doing in school? And it's, parents need to talk to their kids.
Yes. I am a
Big
firm
time.
believer in
What?
that.
Okay, I'm sorry, but what are the lines in the sky?
Like
Oh,
chemtrails,
okay. So,
chemtrails and chemtrails.
The weatherman is just posting his weather with the
so
chemtrails?
yeah. So basically, if you go, when we are done with the live, if you go look at my
I'm going to. I didn't see
stories.
that.
So basically, now the media is now trying to normalize it, right? So I even heard, like, I don't know if it's true. I can't confirm that Disney's actually putting them in their,
I
animated
heard
stuff.
that too.
I have heard that. But a very solid follower of mine who lives in Chicago sent me a picture of her news this morning. And so, like, how they'll have like the map and it'll have like yellow and orange and pink, right? And they'll be like, this is the temperatures or this is the rain patterns. They had white lines all the way across the map as clouds. I'm like, those aren't clouds, because they're going to start to slow roll in, like, oh no, this is normal. This is really
Right.
normal. And I'm going to make sure every single person who, my blood runs through their veins knows those are man-made, those are fake, those are poison. That's not normal.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I listened to a man the other day, and I don't know if you do this. This has happened to me many times in my life. The simplest thing blows my mind. Like the
Yeah.
tiniest little thing when someone says it out loud. So there was somebody doing this on Instagram, having this conversation. And they were, kind of bantering back and forth about food and what's healthy and what's not, and
Yeah.
what can you eat, where can it come from, all of these things, and the labels, how to read the labels,
Mm-hmm.
and this man says, "Well, what if we just went to the model of we eat food without labels?" And I was like,
Dude,
and I really don't even eat processed food,
I'm
but just that
yeah.
realization, why wouldn't that be common thoughts?
Yeah. I used to buy, it's so crazy when I look back, like how poisoned I was, right? Like I would buy all the salad dressings, I would buy all the sauces, and it's like, I don't buy any of that now. I can make all of my own stuff, right? And I try to share that with like a lot. I have like a food highlight on my thing because I try to share with people. Like, I never did buy bone broth. Like I would go to the store and it just seemed weird to me. So I've always made my own bone broth, because, by the way, bone broth is so easy to make and people don't even realize how easy it is to make. Like, you want some chicken bone broth, you go get yourself a whole chicken, you stick it in a crock pot, fill it with water, and put the lid on for 8 hours. You throw a couple chicken feet in if you want some cholesterol. I mean, not cholesterol, Oh my God. Collagen.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my Zada. Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to make, you know? And then it's like I jar mine and I'll make different soups and you know, you want beef, easy, oxtail. I mean, it's so easy to make. And a lot of people don't realize it and they think they're going to be in the kitchen for hours. It's like, no, you could make that in 5 minutes and let it just sit for 8 hours and strain it. Voila, done. Dog food. I make all my own dog food. I mean, I share about this stuff because it's like I started to look at everything and be like, whoa, you know, what is happening here? I mean, you don't even want to get me started on the vets.
Yeah.
On the vets.
I,
Like, you're
I,
an animal lover.
I'm afraid to go. I'm afraid to even get started on the vets. I'm sure it's
This is my
diabolical.
highest recommendation for if you have pets is to either A, learn how to cook their food, or B, know who you are buying from, right? So Northwest Naturals is a great one. Know who you're buying from and ask who owns your vet. If your vet does not own his practice, you need a new vet. Period. They have been bought up by all these investment firms. It's insane. If you just go look in some, I have two. I think I even have my rabies one is pinned. Just go read the comments. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And we can't get overwhelmed by this stuff and be like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed. We have to, when I feel overwhelmed, I pray, right? Like just pray about it, turn to God and know like there is a reason why you stumbled upon this stuff, right? There's a reason. You're a part of this group that needs to share, teach, learn, right? There's a reason. So for me, I'm just like, you know what? I actually always tell myself, I'm like, I trust God and that's it. And I just clear my mind. If I feel overwhelmed about stuff, I'm like, I trust God.
Well, I do think that especially like the people in our world that we talk about these kinds of things, and especially if you're not even any of this is even on your radar.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, but
Yeah.
I always try to encourage people to like this has to become your lifestyle. Just like
Yeah.
little changes, you
Mm-hmm.
know, tiny little changes, and then you know what you said earlier, you look back, it's like, wow, I
Yeah.
got in
A
the
year
same
goes by
person.
and you're shocked by it.
Yeah.
Shocked. I remember looking around my house and being like, wow. My husband was, so I've been married for 25 years. And when I met my husband, he had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, a grapefruit-sized tumor in his chest, and it was non-operable because it was too close to his aorta, his heart. Okay. They told us we would never have kids. He had the full amount of chemo and radiation. My husband, I remember like 16, 17 years ago, he was like, dude, I think water is toxic. I think they're putting stuff in it that is toxic and it's making us sick. And I was like, you're crazy. And then he started water testing our water. And he's like, I don't think we should drink this water anymore. So then we started getting filtered water. And then he was like, you know what? I don't think we should cook with it. I don't even think we should make rice with it. And he was so ahead of his time. He then, from the water, he went to like our light bulbs. He was like, I don't know about these LED light bulbs. Like, I don't think we're saving energy. Like, they're really bright. They bother me. I feel like they're flickering. Like, way ahead of his time. Yeah.
It's really
All
hard to
that's
find
I had.
incandescent
My daughter had
lights.
to give me a ring light for this because I was like, I'm going to look orange on the podcast because we only use natural lighting and incandescent. So at night, my house is kind of more of like a warm red glow, you know? But, yeah, I mean, we've been doing this 17 years and it was, I mean, 17 years. And when I say that in 2017, when I left Western medicine, and was on the journey to figure out how to heal my injury from Tdap, I was still getting Botox. I wasn't correlating that. Like, right. That could be a problem. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we have to just, it's one step at a time. And then one day you'll look back and be like, oh, wow, like I've come a really long way. You know, I've learned a lot, and I've
Well,
listened,
yeah.
because it
And it's
really
so
is like listening too, you
it's
know.
so unfortunate. Like I feel like a lot of times I'm always playing like I'm running backwards, but it's
Yeah.
like, why didn't we know these things? You
Yeah.
know? Because
Yeah.
every day I feel like I learn something new about the holistic living and world
Yeah.
and what we should be eating, how we should
Yeah.
be eating, what we should be,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And, you know, it's hard to know, what do you take? Who do you believe? And when
Right?
you start to feel like that, always go back to everything that grows, you know, naturally is probably where you should be, right? Like what God gave us, you know. And there is no magic pill on either side of the fence, not Eastern or Western medicine. There's zero magic pill. I always tell people, you heal you. A doctor's not going to heal you. A naturopath isn't going to heal you. Your lifestyle, what you put in your mouth, what you put on your body, that's where healing begins,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So simplify it, and it'll start to come, you know, it'll start to flow, because people get very overwhelmed. They're like, I don't know where to start.
Right.
And I'm like,
Well,
start
it
here.
can be, um, you and I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but it can feel, speaking of overwhelming, it can feel overwhelming to leave the matrix. Like,
Yes. And some people
really.
do not want to leave, and that's okay. I
Yeah.
just want to point out, like,
Some people don't know there is a matrix. Yeah.
yeah, I know people like that. Yeah,
They're like,
some people,
no,
like,
no, no.
they know, but they're like, it's a little more comfy over here, because it
Yeah.
is. Like, I remember at the beginning of all of it for me, you know, back in 2017, not only did I feel like super overwhelmed, but I remember feeling very alone. It was such, like, I used to pray. I honestly, like, I remember crying and being like, I don't belong anywhere. I don't belong anywhere. This is crazy. And I mean, I've come full circle to that, to be honest, because like some people on the left hate me and some people on the right. David Harris Jr. hates me. Like, these people do not like me because I don't fold to it. I'm like, the right and left has become very, in my opinion, good cop, bad cop. Like, who's going to play the good cop this election? Who's going to play the bad cop? And it's become so divisive and such a setup of harvesting our emotions and making us judge everybody and hate everybody. I can't stand it. I'm like, that is not God in that.
No.
I got to get out of that, you know. It feels very
Well,
dark.
and I do think you have a unique approach because you you are very friendly with your people. You're not
Yeah.
raging at somebody. I
Oh
feel
my gosh,
like you're
no.
more like, so think about this.
Yeah. Yeah, and when people okay. So when people tell me their opinion, I don't agree with it, or like they want to be upset about something and I don't agree with it, I'm totally okay with that, because look, I love my husband, but I do not agree with everything he says or does. Like, who
Yeah.
is there anybody in your life? Actually, there's one person in my life where I'm pretty sure we agree on everything, and that's my daughter. Who's sitting right here. She's so supportive. Evelyn. There's pretty much like her and I are always on the same wavelength, but you know, no one else. I mean, you're not going to agree with everything someone says. It's very rare. Like, I'm not a believer in blocking people. The only time I ever get really like irked, because I do get irked, and I will give them a nice feature, is anybody who shames an injured person. That for me is like a deal breaker. Like, they've suffered enough, you know, and that one is a tough one for me. People who want to discount medical injury, especially when it's one third leading cause of death. Like medical mistakes happen every single second of every single day, and my family has endured many of those. And I feel like that's a deal breaker for me, where I'm just like, you'll see me be a little bit spicy when that happens.
Yeah, I looked that up the other day because speaking of the internet changing things and, you know, Chatty doing their work, I there was a time that I looked this up many, many years ago, just Googled it, and I thought that the number third cause of death was medical malpractice, medical mistakes, medical
Yeah.
error, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
When I looked it up the other day, so this information can't be calculated this way. I'm
Right.
like, well, sure it can.
Yeah. Sure it can. Yeah, it's kind of like how they have reports. A lot of reports stopped at COVID. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but they're not like updating reports since COVID. But yeah, in fact, this last month, I followed 2 people that in this last month had surgeries, and one, her lungs got nicked and collapsed, and the other person had a main artery nicked and she almost bled out. That's 2 people that I follow in 1 month.
Wow,
Weird.
that is
Medical injury happens all day long, every single day, and that's why everybody should have a patient advocate. You should never go alone. Always have somebody with you, somebody who's willing to speak up and question things and be like, what do you mean? And if you have a doctor that's like, annoyed that you're questioning things, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I would think doctors would welcome that. They'd be like, good question, Deanna, good question. But a lot of them are like, I don't know. I try to stay away from the doctors, so again, it's when you think about that and you think about, how can I stay away from the doctors? Be very aware of what is in your environment. When we were in Bend, when we lived in Oregon, we lived on 2 acres, and we were living our dream life. God gave me everything I ever prayed for. I had everything, you guys, everything I ever prayed for. And our entire property was chemical free. We didn't have pesticides. We didn't use, fertilizer. We weren't doing, we did everything ourselves. And my dogs were thriving and healthy. And we had fled. This would probably have to go into a completely different podcast, but we fled Oregon, literally fled Oregon. Like, we were running for our lives, and we went to Florida. We were in Florida for 19 months. I was horrified by how much pesticides everyone used in my neighborhood, like on my block. Like, people were spraying stuff every single day. It was crazy. And then the city was spraying for mosquitoes. Like, I posted videos of it where, first of all, they would email us that they were aerial spraying, and they would dump pesticides on us in our neighborhoods from planes. And then the trucks would come out around the city trucks, and the guy would try to tell me, oh yeah, no, it's not toxic. And I was like, can I get the MSDS on that, the material safety data sheet? And I actually called the county. It's absolutely toxic.
They're told it's mosquitoes.
It's unbelievable, and we lost our dog to a very aggressive, fast moving cancer. And my husband and I are convinced it was the pesticides. Considering all of my dogs live to be like 20 plus, I cook for all of them. And that was the only thing that we could correlate. But of course, you'll get the people who are like, well, you can't say that because that's not proven.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I can say it. So, yeah. So just, being aware, I think, really being aware about what is in your surroundings. And, I think yesterday I did a reel where I was like, I find it very odd. If you go to a dermatology office, right, they'll have a, picture in the room that's like a picture of a really tan person, and it'll say, this is not healthy, right? And it's so interesting to me that we have been so brainwashed to believe the sun that gives everything life is right. What is making you sick. And it has nothing to do with your groomed lawn, right? That they're spraying stuff on your vegetables. Even organic vegetables, right, at the grocery store, being the misters, those have Produce Max in them. people think they're organic. They're organic when they get to the grocery store, but they're not organic when they leave. You know, no, don't look there. Don't look there. It's the sun. It's causing, no. I don't buy that from anything.
I just saw a reel that said, how have we been so brainwashed to think that it was like all this fast food
Yeah.
and all these
Yeah.
things are normal, but eating meat is clogging my arteries.
Or raw milk.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's wild. It's
And
wild.
it's true.
Mm-hmm.
The same
They're
girl shared.
busting down Amish farms and throwing away raw milk while people are plunging Botox into their foreheads.
I mean, when you put things, you know, side by side comparisons, it's kind of crazy.
I know.
Yes.
It's
And
why they don't want you to do it.
well,
You know
and
what I'm
we've
saying?
not been
I
taught
am
to critically
convinced.
think.
I am convinced that they want people completely stuck in their phones, in their houses, under LED lights. Their whole circadian rhythms messed up because of the LED lights. You're turning bright lights on when you shouldn't have bright lights. Your body wants to calm itself down at night. Like, all these things are these crazy distractions to keep you from sitting in silence and being like, huh, having those pondering moments. You know, it's like a lot of times when I'm pondering things, I'm alone with my dog walking, and I'm like, huh, that's weird, you know, and I'll just go to Instagram and be like, isn't that weird? Anybody else notice this, you know? And having those conversations, you realize, like, first of all, you're not alone. Secondly, people will bring up really great examples, or I learn stuff from my followers all the time, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, I never thought of it that way. Oh my gosh, yeah. You know, like, learning other people's perspectives. But what was one of the things they did during, you know, BLM and COVID and stuff is like, oh, if people aren't on your page, cut them out of your life, you know? And I really feel like when we stopped having conversations and stuff, people really do stop growing. They stop learning, for sure, you know?
I saw when you said that about they want us to be in our phones. It was one of those moments made me kind of sad. You know, it said we used to look up for answers, now we look down.
Yes. And we used to pray for healing, and now we go to the pharmacy.
Right.
You have to go watch my reel that I posted today of a girl talking about that. Pharmacies and witchcraft. It's quite wild. And listen, I share and post things that I see that I'm like, it'll resonate with me, right? I'm not saying things are completely right or wrong. And like, I want people to kind of think for themselves. Like, I'm not trying to be an influencer, right? I'm not trying to influence you to feel a certain way. I want you to think about something and then, like, kind of ask your soul, your spirit, and God, like, how does that feel? It's kind of like when I like pick out a watermelon, right? And I'm like holding the watermelon and I'm like, is this good for me? Is this a good watermelon? You know, and it's like I listen to my little body be like, yeah, that's the one. You know, it's kind of like you have to do that, like, with a lot of things in life. But I want people to decide for themselves, like, is that weird? You know, should I be thinking about that? Should I be supporting that? It's like I tell people all the time, like, we have to shop with intention, right? Like, where you spend your money matters. You go put $200 a week over at Target, or do you put $200 a week at some small business who's making a small batch tallow from their grass-fed cows, and they really care? Like, I'm going small business all day long, right? Like, when everyone was talking about, you know, the Epstein files, right, it's the big topic, right? People started talking about Wes Lexner, and I just trolled like a bunch of accounts with one. I had one thing to say: we made him a billionaire. We made him a billionaire. We made him a billionaire because we bought Victoria's Secrets, we bought Pink, we shopped at Bath and Body, which, by the way, is complete poison chemicals that people are lathering all over their bodies, right? Like, we made these people who they are. So it's like, stop doing that. Stop making these people billionaires. Stop shopping like that, you know? And if you don't know where to start, go to my website, because I did a lot of the hard work for you. I don't carry everything, but I have a lot of really amazing products. And they are tested through and through, and I would not carry it if I didn't love it. I also don't take sponsorships and endorsements at all. Every link is only commission, and it is something that I really use. You know, I'm never going to sell out like that. I'm never going to be somebody who, because again, the whole reason I felt the shift where I literally felt like God was like, speak, was for the future of my children, my grandchildren, their friends. I want a house full of kids doing sleepovers at Nana's house. I don't want to watch my children and my grandchildren see people pass away way too young. You know what I'm saying? Like, or disabled way too young. The amount of kids that have POTS, that have lupus, that have, you know, severe anxiety, you know, not normal. It shouldn't be like that, you know? So, yeah.
And if we all do our part and we all share information with each other and we're eager to learn and not be afraid to hear something that we, heaven forbid, don't agree with,
Yeah.
you know, it's just wild where we're at today that we all have to think exactly the same way or we can't be friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're all so different.
We are also different. And look at our own government on both sides.
Yeah.
It is like being in 8th grade with the popular kids who are bullies.
All right.
What are we? I'm literally like, I am unsubscribing to that, you guys. Like, that is, and there's so much more of us than them. Everybody needs to go back and watch Bug's Life again.
Bug's Life?
Yes, we're the ants. Bug's Life. Have you guys seen it? We're the ants.
Yep. I know.
I
just watched it. I know Max. He loved the ants.
We are Flick.
Yes.
We are Flick. Yeah. Like, we need to stop with this. It's crazy, you know, what's going on in our government, and just, I mean, all of them. I mean, I am so blessed to have Gavin Newsom as my governor, who, I mean, need I even say more? You guys, did anybody see him in Atlanta? Like, it was crazy. That was crazy.
Did you watch it?
I did watch it. I cringed and
I was dead.
Stop. Immediately stop. Immediately, please. Like, yeah, no. They think everyone's stupid. Honestly, it's kind of crazy. So, yeah, I'm just not for government. And we need to reconstruct. You know, I feel like we need to do it at a small town and city level, and everyone needs to be involved and be accountable. And big government needs to go bye-bye. Yeah, I don't believe in any big government anymore. It's just there's too much room for corruption and thievery and stealing our money and a lot of other crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. Do you like to read?
I do. I do like to read.
I just finished a book. It's called Confessions of an Economic Hitman.
Oh.
It was a bestseller in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Wildly interesting. And this
Really?
guy's got footnotes for footnotes.
For footnotes.
Unbelievable.
Okay.
I mean,
can you text me that? So I'll look into that.
It's wild.
Yeah. You'll have to text me
that. It is like how it's the groundwork for the mindset that we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
But
I believe
it doesn't make a straight path there. You would just have to read it like all the things that have been done around the world.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's like they've had 100-year plan. Right?
And they've done it.
I know.
And then it keeps us all busy with all these other things, you know, going on.
Taylor Swift concerts, football games, you know, I just want to make it to the weekend because my bills are so expensive. I mean, Yeah.
And then
We're,
we have to hate each other all the time, you know, so that we're very occupied with that, and they're just left to be to do what they want.
yeah.
And
Well, yeah,
then
because if
you,
we all sat
yeah,
around and collaborated and we're like, hey, yeah, wait a minute. Yeah. Because I really truly believe like 90% of people are for the common good. They want to just get along with everybody, and they'll put in their day of hard work and contribute to, you know, their community. I really do believe most people are like that, you
well,
know.
I think that most people, it seems to me, I'm 56, but we kind of want our family, and then we want that to be happy and
Yeah.
peaceful, and then we go out and we have some neighbors, you know, and they're
Yep.
happy, and then our city, like, there are people that like to aggravate, and
Yeah.
but for the most part, yeah, we just neighborly things and
Yeah. Yeah.
normal stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Walking with your dog.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
I know. It's wild how
A simple life. We want to be unbothered, but I don't think that that's their game plan, you know, at all. And hopefully, slowly, maybe it'll pick up pace more. People are starting to kind of see stuff differently and understand it. There's obviously always going to be the people that are like, I am not looking.
Yeah.
Not looking. I know people. I love people like that they want zero info. They're like, I don't want to know. I am staying right here in my matrix. I am happy here. But I think it's more people that are looking past the curtain and they're like, wait,
I
what?
do too. I was telling my husband the other night, like I feel like there is a shift that you know,
Yes.
if we
Yes.
all just keep pushing a little bit.
Yes.
well, there's
There is a
joy
shift.
on the other side. There's
Yes.
healing on the other side. There's contentment on the other side.
Well, I'm proof
There's,
of that.
right.
That's what I want. I really do want people to understand is that when I first started, right, from 9 years ago in 2017, when I literally walked out of, I think it was like oh my gosh, what was that doctor? I literally, every single doctor I had, and this is no offense to any, I'm not trying to be offensive, right? Every single doctor I had would give me medical advice, and I would look at every single doctor I had and was like, I don't want to look anything like you. You're not, my cardiologist was wheezing. Like, what? Like, no thanks. Like, him and I both needed Jenny Craig. Like, it was not, I was literally like, bro, this is not, no. I remember walking out of that last office. I think she was a endocrinologist, or I, I, I left there being like, oh my gosh, that I need to do something. This is crazy. For 2 years, I went through really gnarly detox. You'll have to have me on again. We'll talk about detox. I went through crazy stuff.
I would love to
But
talk about that.
I'm 9 years in to this, and I mean, my hair is insane. I get compliments on my hair all the time. My skin, the way I feel, I sleep like a baby. I am on zero medication. And by the way, I'm not taking supplements every day. So if you don't follow me, because I'll talk about that. I do not believe in taking, I believe God made me perfect. And there are times in your life where you need a little bit of help from things that grow in the ground, right? And there are times that you just need to rely on God. Now, is that for everybody? No, but it could be. It could be.
It could be.
I truly came out the other end of it. And it's like, you know, I sustained a severe injury almost 2 years ago. I fell and broke 2 ribs. And going through that healing process, choosing a lot of paths that were a difficult road, because I decided not to put my nerves to sleep with injections and do certain things that I knew my body was not going to handle well. and just to rely on my body's ability to heal was so empowering and taught me so much about the human body and its capabilities. That, okay, if you think about this, if you cut yourself, right? Like you go and you cut yourself and you're bleeding and you clean that and then you put a Band-Aid on, what happens to that cut? What happens? It heals, right? You don't have to do anything. It heals. You do not have to do anything. That cut is going to heal. Your entire body works like that. It always wants to heal. So is what we are using and putting on us and putting in us and what they're spraying in this, all these things, is that stopping healing? It might be.
Right.
So if you start to lessen those things, those roadblocks, your body's going to thrive. I'm telling you, your body's going to thrive. And that was a big one for me when I started to realize, wait, I have toxic overload. It's not just the vaccine that's hurting me, right? It's Botox, it's filler, it's toxic shampoo, it's hair dye, it's, 5 layers of makeup, it's, eyelash, what up? It's all these things that I'm consuming. And my body's like, whoa, I can't get rid of it fast enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
My body felt sluggish. Well, for a reason. And when people start to catch on to that simplicity of it, it's a lot easier to go somewhere and make a good decision. It's like, I will literally browse through like Sprouts and Whole Foods, just looking for that one dang snack, because I was a salty sweet girl, and I like to have snacks. And now I'm a grapes and sprouted pumpkin seeds girl. And I would have, if you would have told me 5 years ago, I would have been like, no, that's not going to be me. It's totally, I can get my sweet tooth completely fulfilled through fruit. And I would have never thought that could happen. Never. But your body will actually, as you get healthier and change your body, you'll start to notice your sensitivities to things because your body will turn back on. So like an example is you smell exhaust and you'll be like, oh my gosh, because your body is not numb anymore. Your body's like, that's bad. That's not good. It's pretty miraculous when it happens. You're like, it no longer feels heavy and depressing and scary. It starts to feel like, oh my gosh, I am like a warrior. I'm wearing God's cloak. Like I know this earth. I got this. You know what I mean? That's how I started to feel. And it was way easier to put myself out there and have demons attack me online, because that is what a lot of trolls are, right? It's like demon energy. They're coming at you, trying to, make you fearful or trying to hurt your feelings and stuff. And I'm so comfortable in the love I have for myself and God. Like I a lot of times I'm like, not today, Satan.
Yeah.
I'm not playing.
For sure.
For
sure.
Just become stronger. When you are living how God designed, you start to become much stronger in that,
Well, you are right about the sensitivities. I think that you and I talked about this yesterday too. Probably 7 years ago, I would guess. My husband was having lots of heart problems and stents and heart attack, and our whole family went clean eating.
Yeah.
We actually started keto, and if you do keto the right way, it's all clean, single ingredient. You're cooking everything you're eating, and your sensitivities go all the way up. You're at like max sensitivities, and you can smelling things is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and a lot of people they don't know that they don't feel good because you're not sick.
Right.
Until you feel that, it's like, oh my gosh.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
When my husband, when I started seeing Dr. K, that's my naturopath, he was in remission, but he was on a lot of pain medications. he had so many side effects from, because he had the full amount of chemo and radiation you could have. He had like had to live in like a hospital room because he had no white cells. Like it was gnarly. Didn't even have eyebrows. And so he was in remission, and he was having to take a lot of medications just to like function, and that was making him not function, if that makes any sense. He couldn't work. It was a nightmare. And so when I started seeing Dr. K, I was bouncing back pretty quickly. Like before my first big detox, because I felt like I was pretty convinced I had some form of cancer and they were missing it. And she was like, oh no, you don't even have a heart condition. You have a thyroid issue. And like, she was like, you know, and take these and do this. And so I was really responding well and was starting to function and like make dinner and do things that I used to do prior to getting the vaccine. And my husband was like, wow, like what's going on there? So my next appointment, he was like, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go with you to your appointment. And he sat in the waiting room, and she came out and she's like, oh, you can come in. And he's like, no, I'll just wait out here. And she was like, oh, you're not ready yet, huh? It's okay. You will come. You will come. And sure enough, I mean, my husband started seeing her, and I remember when she told his biggest fear that he lived what was so heavy in his heart, because we went on and got married and had children, was that he was afraid the cancer would come back. And I remember when she said, you will never have cancer again. You will never, because I will teach you how not to. You will never have cancer again. And I thought to myself, that is a bold statement, because I knew nothing about health. I knew nothing about cancer. I knew nothing about how the body functions. And I did not have my faith in God. And my husband is probably almost always in ketosis. He works outside in the sun. He does not wear any form of sunscreen. He has conditioned his body for the sun. And my husband's health thrived after that, you know? And I mean, first of all, he does not consume anything processed, anything. He drinks organic coffee and water. That's it. He does not drink teas, soda, nothing, no alcohol. He does not consume any sugar. And I mean, like, he does not, sugar's in almost everything. He pretty much has to eat raw, real food, because he walked away from all of that. And it is very easy when you feel so horrible and then you feel good to never go back, because you'll try. Like, he tried to go back when he was feeling really good. He was like, oh, I'm feeling good. I'm going to get a bag of Yorks, because that was his thing, was Yorks. And he was like, how did I ever eat these? Yeah. Because that's what happens. Your body becomes healthy, and then it realizes danger, you know?
Well, I don't know about this for everyone, but I was a candy and McDonald's aholic. Like, I wanted a McDouble every day. I wanted peanut M&Ms every day. I wouldn't even want to eat that stuff. Last time I ate it, it tasted like it was nothing but chemicals.
Yeah. It sure doesn't taste like real meat, does it?
It tastes literally like chemicals.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Not good ones either.
Yeah.
Don't go down the McDonald's rabbit hole.
We're not going to be Cuban today. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's funny because my son a couple months ago wanted hot dogs, and I get my meat from Riverbend. And so I had hot dogs in there from them, and I was like, oh, I'll grab some buns. And I went to the regular grocery store, and I don't remember the brand I bought, but it's a popular brand. And we had leftover hot dog buns. Those buns were sitting in my pantry for like 6 months, and not a stitch old. I was like, what were we eating? Like, yeah, if it doesn't go bad,
right.
Yeah.
Number one rule: if your food doesn't mold, don't eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, look at some of these like blueberries and raspberries too that don't mold. I trip out on that. Like I've bought blueberries before that they're like four or 5 weeks in, and nothing's they haven't budged in looks, and I'm like, I'm not buying that anymore. So farmers markets, support your local farmer.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we like the farmers market. I stocked it this past year. I bought enough that I could freeze it, and so then I can.
Well,
Oh
you
yeah.
have the, advantage of living in California. We don't
Yeah.
have farmers markets for like 6 months because
Yeah.
snow.
Well, I mean, I will say what's interesting about that is that I'm now learning a lot about like seasonal eating
Yeah.
and stuff. And when we drove, Evelyn and I were just up the coast in Oregon, and it's like a 17-hour drive, right? And coming back across the border from Oregon into California, it's pretty much like farmland all through like northern and central California. The amount of planes, helicopters, and ground trucks spraying all of that was shocking to me. It was shocking. We have a
Well,
problem. It was like shocking. I was like, wow. I mean, we may grow a lot, but we are growing that stuff with chemicals. Like it's pretty startling. I believe in regenerative farming completely.
Yeah,
So
me too.
yeah.
well, are you the one that shared that they did that? The government actually did put that in place. The regenerative farming.
So there's a lot. No, I know there's a lot of people working on wanting to. There's a guy I follow. I can't remember his name, but he's like doing the whole, million farmers, micro farmers, and he's pitching it to RFK and stuff. And I know a lot of people right now are really upset because of the glyphosate, like, and that Trump has expanded that program and stuff. But I'm super. Look, I feel like if people were more intentional, because you can grow some of your own things even if you're in an apartment, right? So like if people were more intentional about maybe small farming and then trying to just really flood and support all of the small farmers around them and eating jarred stuff during the winter months and stuff, if we get more intentional with our money, there's not going to be a demand for that. Right now, if they like clipped it and they were like, no more pesticides, the entire farm industry would collapse,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we've built our entire industry off of that. So I'm kind of on the fence with that, but I'm definitely not rushing out to buy, tomatoes dipped in wax or peel, and I'm not, I try to buy organic as much as possible, and I try to get from the farmer's market as much as possible, so.
Yeah. Well, I try to be as healthy as possible. I am every day now thinking about food without labels.
Yeah.
But 2 weeks ago, I was in the hospital and I was happy to be there. That
Yeah.
somebody was going to take care of me,
Yeah.
and I wasn't going to die.
Yeah.
So it's, you know,
There's a
Well,
balance for sure.
someone said the other day too, which this is something that will live in my brain for a long time, that hospitals are amazing for emergency care.
Correct. So hospitals are for emergency care and medical intervention. I wish if we were to rebuild the program, right? Because I'm not saying like there are wonderful, amazing doctors out there, right? I really wish we could build a program where the first line of defense is actual health and learning about health and teaching about health and doing all of the things to keep you away from the hospital.
Right.
When I was a kid, and I'm sure when you were younger, you remember, hospitals, our local hospital, it was for like, a kid fell off the bike and hit his head. Like it wasn't people chronic, illness, like fluctuating in and out. So why is everybody chronically ill? So I feel like if we had a lot more holistic, practices and stuff and people teaching this,
Right.
then it would keep a lot of that down. It would get better. And hospitals really are for like emergency situations. What happened to you, what happened to my dad, him having a reaction to something. Like, they're really for an emergency intervention.
Right.
But again, like the ultimate healing, it really comes down to you. No one will ever know the ins and outs of you and your body like you and God. No one will.
Right. Absolutely. That
Yeah.
is true.
Yeah.
And we have to advocate for our own body. God gave it to us.
Yeah.
We are the stewards of it.
Yes.
We can
That's
get
right.
help along the way, and
That's
we
right.
do it, but God, we are in charge of this temple.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love what you said earlier because I think about that all the time is we don't need all the outside noise. Our
Yeah.
bodies are miraculous and can
Yes.
heal itself. Like our bodies are so magnificent that we do not give it the credit
Yeah.
that like even a broken bone, it heals it.
Yeah.
My son broke his collarbone, and this was the first like in my brain interaction with a broken bone for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, rush into the emergency room. Like, they have to, like, immediately get in there
Yeah.
and fix it and stim it and whatever, they do. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're like, oh, no. Like,
Yeah.
his bones are young. Like, he doesn't even have to be in a sling because he's not going to be in one anyways. It's going to
Yeah.
heal. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Oh yeah. My thoracic surgeon, I'm under the care of a thoracic surgeon because of my ribs. So my ribs, like, here's your ribs, right? And it's like under my left breast where it broke. So when my ribs broke, they didn't just fracture, right? My ribs broke like that. So my doctor explained to me that your body is so miraculous. My ribs are still trying to pin themselves back together, right? So they're kind of like, it creates this like other type of bone that fuses it. So they stick out now on the left side, but he says as the years pass, sometimes the body will actually push it back into alignment. So, a lot of times people will rush to, and I'm not saying don't rush to the doctor if you break a bone, you guys, okay? But a lot of times when something happens to us, we're so programmed to like, you have a fever, give yourself Tylenol. Well, why do you have a fever? You have a fever because your body is burning bacteria and virus out of you. So your body is doing what it's supposed to do. It's, if you really like start to dive into like the things your body does, like your body creates a tumor because it's taking everything that's not there and it's putting it into a tumor to protect you. Your body's trying to save you. So these are things that people don't understand. Western medicine does not teach and does not talk about. And this has been known for thousands of years in Eastern medicine, which is why I do think they try to push this narrative of like, it's crazy. I mean, I told you guys at the beginning of this, when I went to see Dr. K, I was like, I don't know if I'm into that,
Yeah.
And, it opened a huge door for me about how amazing our bodies are. And we just need to pay attention. Your body is always trying to tell you something, I've told my husband, so one of my problems, I don't know if you probably see me take a couple drinks of water and throw a couple mints in my mouth. After I got the Tdap, I developed a chronic cough. Crazily, almost like a whooping cough, which is what I was trying to prevent when I got the vaccine. But I had a chest x-ray and they told me that I had calcification throughout my lungs and that would get worse and tighter and tighter and tighter. And, the mind is very powerful. And a lot of people will get diagnosed or labeled and they'll believe that diagnosis or that label. And then it's like, that becomes their identity in their life. Yeah. I chose not to believe that. And I chose, a completely different path. And I believe that our bodies want to heal. That is one of the last residual things that I have had to deal with, through my injury. Because I was like diagnosed with like 7 things. Like it was nuts. And I don't have any of those things anymore, except for the ILO, the chronic cough. And I'm definitely working on that, but sometimes I wonder if that was actually a blessing, because I can walk into a place. I always tell my husband, I am a canary in a coal mine. Like I walk into Target and I'm coughing instantly. instantly. And I'm triggered by all the different stuff in there, you know, the particulars, the clothing, the chemicals on the clothing. Like, it's all of it just sends me through the roof. So, you know, do I always want to be like that? No, I want that to heal. But now, like, I tell myself a different story with it instead of like, oh, these are my lungs failing me. I'm like, no, this is my body warning me. This is my body doing what it's supposed to do. It's telling me I shouldn't be breathing this. This is not good for me,
Right.
you know?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a gift.
Yeah. Yeah. God gave us intuition, discernment, all those things. And a lot of us have tuned out of that. And we need to tune back in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dial ourselves back in.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
agree.
Yeah.
Well, I would absolutely love to do a podcast on your detox story.
Yeah. You know what
Because
else? I also would love to, I really would love to come back on and talk to you guys about Evelyn and her being a miracle and a gift from God and how God saved her. I would really love to share that story. I wrote about it on my Substack and I've talked about it a lot to my followers. It is a beautiful story about how God is in the details of everything. So we'll have to schedule something
I
because
wrote it in my notes. We'll get
that
on
one would be a
together.
really powerful thing to share with people. It's a
Is
very
she gonna be with us too? Or no?
Evelyn? Yeah,
Yeah.
she would probably, I don't know where she went, but she would probably sit on the podcast. Her story is nothing less than miraculous, and you know what she went through at birth and everything. Just like I'll leave a little teaser here. I had to have an emergency C-section. She was my third child. And I slipped and fell in a grocery store in a puddle of water. They did an emergency C-section, and Ava had complications from birth. I have no idea if it was the emergency C-section or if it was the intervention of what they did. But by 7 months old, she was not sitting up. She was not hitting any milestones. And so we were sent for an MRI, and the hospital accidentally overdosed her. And the story from there is unbelievable. Ava didn't breathe for 20 minutes. She was completely overdosed on Versed and ketamine. And at 7 months old, we were told she would probably never walk or talk. And she had a severe brain injury. Those of you who follow me and see her on my page know she is recovered, you know, very beautifully by the grace of God. But when they were working on her, and when I say they, there was probably 20 people in the room because the infant crash cart didn't have oxygen. They didn't have the tube. It was just, they had to keep calling for a pediatric code blue. And I hit my knees in that room and I threw my hands up to God and was like, you have to leave her with me. You have to entrust me. I prayed for this. I wanted to be a mom of a daughter. Please give her back to me. And I put 100% of my faith into God. And he breathed life back into her that day. And when the neurologist from UCLA told me she will never walk or talk, I looked him dead in the eye and I said, she will run. She will run. And I made that decision right there. And I knew I would never let them wear that label. Like, I was never going to tell people that she had CP. I was never going to let them put that on her. And her story is very remarkable, you know, and I do believe that's the power of God. So
Absolutely.
He's the God of miracles.
yes, amen.
Absolutely. All right, let's do it. As soon as we
Yeah.
get done, we'll send you schedule and we'll get
Okay.
you back on.
I love it. You guys are so amazing.
It
I'm
has
so
been so
grateful you
much
had
fun.
me on.
Yes, and we're room for you and your daughter's podcast too.
Thank you. I know. It's coming. It's coming. It is coming. It will be here soon.
We need more mother-daughter teams.
I know, right?
We have
I
a good time. And this has been, I'm going to tell you this tiny little thing, and then I'm going to let you go. Always, every single podcast we have ever had, I'm so pumped and so juiced and so excited. And, we do the pregame and we
Yeah.
get to know each other. And then the day of, about 2 hours before the podcast, I'm like, my stomach hurts. I'm getting nervous. Why do I do this?
Yeah.
And it's always great. And
Yeah.
this was wonderful. I enjoyed every single minute of it.
Thank you. Well, you don't look nervous at all. I think it's fabulous. I wish you guys so much success in it. And I do think we need moms and daughters and
Yes.
hopefully one day granddaughters all
Yes.
talking about it and teaching. Yeah. So I love it. We're blessed,
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, God bless you and God bless your daughter. She can hear us. We cannot
Thank
wait
you.
to hear her story.
Thank you so much.
And you guys have a great night.
You
And
too.
we'll
You
talk soon.
too. Okay,
Okay.
ladies. Okay. Bye.